NATO, I don't know who the person was that from NATO, but there was someone speaking on behalf of NATO.
The NATO chief said Ukraine will be
in NATO.
joining.
And I mean, that's just saying there will be some kind of confrontation with Russia. Hopefully.
That is a personal declaration of World War III.
Sounds like it to me.
When the NATO chief came out and said, Ukraine will be in NATO, what they said to Vladimir Putin at that moment was, consider yourself at war, and it will not stop until we get what we want.
So I think something important to keep in mind is, so George Kennan, he was a father of the containment policy, right, during World War II. Basically, what created NATO down the road, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And after the Cold War ended, he said the biggest mistake that we can make is the expansion of NATO eastward. Mm-hmm. That is what he said. The father of the containment policy. That's something to think about. And he said it would cause irrevocable damage in terms of trying to shore up relations with Russia. This is right after, 91, 92. And, he continued to say this into the 2000s. And I think, I can't imagine he's still alive, but, that's been very clear. Secondly, how many of these countries are actually paying their 2% of GDP into NATO? Is France and all? No, most of them don't. They don't pay.
It's basically Macron being like, hey, Russia, my friend America is going to come beat you up. And I'm sitting here as an American be like, oh, come on, dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to get into a fight for you.
So, and that's why, you have the political side of NATO, the political leadership. That's the Secretary General who here recently said, yes, we're, Ukraine is going to join NATO. But look, there is a military component to this, which we make up the mass amount of it. These folks can't even spend 2% of their budgets on defense, which they are treaty bound to do. So why would we go along with any of the other treaty obligations if the other ones are not being met? Donald Trump has said this multiple times, and everyone freaked out. Like, what is he talking about? This makes all the sense in the world.
European countries are basically vassal states for the United States empire.
Well,
so we want war. And we're going to push, they're going to do what we tell them to do.
Well, they had a great deal post-World War II. We subsidized their security so they could have social welfare programs. So that's basically what happened. NATO was the umbrella of security. Then they rolled socialism into the countries. And now we're going to have to show up and, protect.
Didn't they also go through substantial disarmament in Europe?
Yes.
They haven't been manufacturing munitions. They haven't been manufacturing any weapons. They have instead let what they have, rust, and they haven't made anything new. Yeah,
at the end of the day, it's NATO, that's us and the UK and like 10 troops from Slovenia and 10 troops from Croatia and, this and this and that. France obviously has a sizable military component in this, but Turkey's in it. What does Turkey think about this? I'd be curious to know that. They are a NATO ally.
Have you looked at the NATO map? Man, we are really surrounding Russia on their western front. I mean,
it's rude.
With Turkey to the south, with Finland to the north, and now the last barrier, you've got Belarus and Ukraine, basically.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some people that have talked about even expanding this to countries like Georgia, where you had break-off territories, South Ossetia and Abkhazia during that war that took place. Look, NATO served a very clear purpose, and I think it can continue to serve a purpose.
They got to pay.
Yeah, I mean, these folks got to pay up. They have to pay up. And, the terrible thing in all of this, and this has been reported, and you all have talked about this, is that there was a peace offer early on in this, and that got scuttled immediately to put us in the position we are now, which I think is completely unfair to the U.S. taxpayer and citizens, that we're going to bear the brunt of decisions and statements that are being made by some foreign country who's actually not going to have to do much with it.